In this recording, we're just doing a short explanation in terms of the alternative assessments that are going to be assigned for AC220, and particularly in terms of assignment 1, what's expected. So as I mentioned in the email that you'll have just received, the end of year exam, which was traditionally 5 questions worth 85%, that's now been taken off, and you're going to have 2 assignments instead, which are take at home, that are going to replace it. So assignment 1 is the one that's released currently. Now I'll have this unhidden and you'll see it on loop. It'll be under the continuous assessment. You'll see end of year assignments. That is an assignment that you're going to do between now and Wednesday week 12. So I'll talk to you a small bit about that in a second. It's a narrative based one based on the theories, accounting theories we covered in semester 1. The other assignment then, which I'll give more details about in week 12, that's going to be an open book exam which you take at home. Right, so that's going to focus on the computation elements of AC220, and essentially it's going to look at question 1, question 2 and question 3, and we're going to kind of merge them together into a single type case study. So it's going to cover all the stuff you would have been examined on anyway, it's just in a different setting. So I'll talk to you a lot more about that, but that's going to be 50%, and then the assignment 1 is your 35. So it's still the 85, and your grade from the 15% from the semester 1 continuous assessment, that still stands. Alright, we'll talk to you a lot more about the assignment 2. It will take place on a day in the exam period. So whatever the normal exam period is in May, we'll tell you more about that in terms of the assigned date and all the requirements in due course. For now, you continue to study those standards, continue to practice the tutorials, because essentially your question 1, 2 and 3 on the old exam, which we call the 85% exam, that's still going to be the standard that's expected. And we'll go through a couple of those tutorials, and I'll put up the past exam papers and solutions in the next week or 2. For your focus for now should be on assignment 1. So I'll just open it up here. So it's end of year assignment 1. It's an individual assignment, right? And what you're required to do is write a feature article for Accountancy Ireland. Now I have given you a link down here to show you what Accountancy Ireland is. So I'll go into that in a second and we'll talk you through it. But make sure you have a look at the feature articles, which is kind of like the main article, usually based on the cover page. Well, how are they writing to? So remember, Accountancy Ireland, their target audience are qualified accountants. So this is essentially the membership magazine that comes out once every 2 months for qualified chartered accountants in Ireland. So they're your target audience that you try and write to. And remember, this is not an academic piece. So watch for that when you're looking at your tone and structure. You must keep it relevant to people who are working in industry and in practice. So focus the assignment to provide an overview of a chosen topic. I give you 3 titles, and critically analyse how it's going to impact the profession, or what value can it add to the profession. So what I'm expecting here is some critical thinking. I'm looking for you to understand and critically analyse, for example, fair value accounting. Is it a good problem or a good solution, or is it a problem? I'm looking to see, do you understand accounting regulation theory? Can it inform practice? So there will be an element of self-directed research here. You can take any angle you want, but you have to meet the brief in terms of the title. You have to meet the brief in terms of who the target audience are. They're qualified accountants and they're time poor. They're not looking for a heavy academic piece. They're looking for something that's engaging, it uses real world examples, and they can take away something from it. And what we're looking for then is your presentation. So make sure it's laid out well, it's attractive, it's not like one big essay, and that you think qualified accountants will be interested in this. All right? So it gives you a good idea, gives you a lot of scope, but you have to remember, what did I cover in AC220, and who are my target audience in terms of qualified accountants. After that, you can take your own stamp on it. And we're looking to see evidence that students have researched the topic, and students have thought about it and given their own opinion. So to give you an idea, if you click into this link, it gives you the copies of Accountancy Ireland magazine. So you get them all in soft copy. You can see them here. So if you go to archive, when you get there, you get all the older copies. So I'll just go into the more recent one, go to 2019. They go back all the number of years. We'll take December 2019 as an example. So you can see here it's a whatever page magazine, 100 pages. But we're interested in what are some of the big articles, just to get an idea, read them in terms of the tone and the language that are used. So there's a lot of kind of news articles and pictures up front, just to tell you what's going on. But in this case, the main article, one was an interview with this person, and you can see the type of articles it is. But the main spotlight one, which is the cover page, was why should you volunteer? Now this is a slightly different one. There's more technical articles as well. But you'll notice here it's not set up like an academic piece. It's a lot more engaging. They have little boxes to highlight key points. They have a little kind of a brief executive summary in terms of what you're going to read, use of images, use of little pop-out boxes. You don't have to follow the 3-column approach if you don't want to, but you have to make sure, is this engaging to someone who's going to be sitting down at lunchtime reading this for 10 or 15 minutes? So we're practicing your ability to communicate with your peers who will be in the accounting professions, but not necessarily in an academic format. So what I wouldn't expect to see here is academic references throughout. If you are going referencing pieces of work, you might put a footnote, put the footnote underneath, and you will have a bibliography at the end of all your sources. So a big thing here in terms of marking is the presentation. Tailor it towards the outlet. So have a look at other articles. So for example here, if you went, let's take a different one, say the October 2019, and you went to the Spotlight article, it's on corporate governance. So board of directors. So a slightly different one. Bit more technical, but again, not numerical. But if you go on to maybe page 10, so you see the first couple of pages are always small articles, news ones, but then you come to the Spotlight piece. It's always says Spotlight on it is the 5 trends. Look at the way it's laid out. They have bullet points, they have images, they have big quotes. So part of that is your presentation skills. It's one thing getting the content, and of course that's important. It's another thing getting your message across in an effective way. And all of that is going towards your marks in terms of this. So presentation of it, but also your understanding. So you have 3 possible titles that you can use. I don't mind which one you take, and you don't have to inform me beforehand which one you take. So accounting regulation, can theory inform practice? So what I expect students there is to show their knowledge of what the accounting regulation theories are. We've talked about them. And what are the current issues in practice in terms of accounting regulation? And you can bring in their audit regulation as well and accounting regulation, because they're very much linked together. But there's a lot of problems currently in accounting regulation. I want you to see, can you go and research what they are? And maybe can the theories that we've covered in terms of accounting regulation, can they help shed some light on that? Now you might agree or you might disagree, but what can we take away? What can accounting practitioners who are working in the Big Four, they're working in a smaller practice, they're working in a company, in a finance department, what can they take away from the accounting regulated theories that we covered in semester 1? If you didn't like the look of that, you might try fair value accounting, the solution of the problem. And we touched on this in one of the tutorials previously in semester 1. This is around the accounting measurement side. So if moving from historical cost to fair value accounting, that's becoming very prominent in a lot of the accounting standards. But do you think it's going to be a solution to some of the problems with historical cost accounting, or maybe it's going to be a problem itself? And there's a number of articles I would have shared already around the financial crisis, around the problems with fair value accounting, and also with the benefits of fair value accounting. So maybe you might think I could get a good article out of that. That's why I'm giving you a choice. And the last one is, I suppose, a bit broader, that you can talk on regulation theories, you can talk on normative accounting theories, you can talk on positive accounting theories. I just left it open and said, what can we learn from accounting theory? So you might want to talk to your target audience and say, this is what we can learn. This is the problems of where accounting is today as a profession. Are we at a crossroads in certain areas? What can we learn from accounting theory that maybe a lot of these people who are 10, 15, 20 years qualified forget from their initial studies of accounting in undergrad? So I've left it open-ended. You can choose any of the 3, but you must tailor it and make it attractive to your target audience. And have a look at a couple of those Accountancy Ireland articles just to get a sense of, well, what's the tone here? How could I lay it out? How can I make it more attractive and differentiate mine from my colleagues and my peers? All right. Logistics then, it's worth 35%. In and around 2,000 words. Again, don't go above 10%, don't go below 10%, but in and around 2,000 words, you leave out the bibliography from the word count, and you should have a detailed bibliography at the end. All your sources, whether they're websites, they're academic papers, they're news articles. And as well as that, when you are submitting, and this is quite important, you submit one single document to Loop. All right, so typically it's a PDF. In that document, the first page should be the cover page, like this. The second page in the document should be a signed declaration form. So be careful there. You get your declaration form. If you have access to a printer, print it off, sign it and scan it back up. And you can then go to any online software. For example here, if you just go PDF merge, this is where you can merge two PDFs together. So to bring it to a single one. Any of those documents will, or those websites will allow you to do it. If you don't want to have access to a printer, you can just use an e-signature. You can just Google e-signature, you can get one, or just sign it and type it and save it in. But I need a signed declaration form. It's important to confirm that this is your own work and that you have abided by plagiarism, etc. guidelines set by DCU. So whatever way you do it, I don't mind if it's an e-signature, if it's typed, if it's just copied in terms of fancy writing, or it's actually printed, signed and scanned back up. But I want a single document and upload it to Loop because it is going to go through your plagiarism software as well. So all of that has to be done. And if you have any uncertainties, don't be afraid to email me. The deadline is Wednesday of week 12. Right, and a soft copy only, obviously, because we don't have any accommodation for hard copy. A single document, including your signed declaration form, and there's going to be a link. It's already there on Loop for assignment 1. Right, and we'll have a similar approach for assignment 2. I'll explain all about that once assignment 1 is finished, because you still have your normal 2-week study break after week 12. Right, so you'll have plenty of time to worry about that. That'll be more towards the traditional style studying for that exam. Right, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what is expected for assignment 1. It is not an academic piece. If you're using references, you should really be doing footnotes and putting all your sources then in a detailed bibliography at the end. But make sure you read Accountancy Ireland now, get a flavour of what's expected and have a think then, which one do I want to do here? You don't have to let me know. You pick whichever one you think you're going to get enough stuff out of, but make sure you link back what do we cover in AC220, and there will be an element of self-directed research as well, where you go off and think, what else do I need to know about accounting regulation? What else do I need to know about fair value accounting? And can I put it into a nice finished piece that could fit neatly into Accountancy Ireland?